a top official in South Africa's Department of Social Development, Lumka Oliphant, has been placed on precautionary suspension. Her crime, or so the department says, is leaking details of Minister Sisisi Tolashe's R3 million trip to New York. But is that really the full story? The answer is more layered than it may first appear, and understanding it requires us to explore both the immediate controversy and the long history of tension inside South Africa's governance structures. For years, Oliphant served as head of communication at the department, recognized by the Government Communication and Information System as one of the best-performing officials. Her background stretches across journalism and government, including time at City Press, and that history informs her voice today. When she speaks up, whether to the media or to her department, her words carry weight, credibility, and a sense of lived experience that makes her hard to dismiss. She was often seen as one of the more professional communicators within government, balancing loyalty to the department with a duty to the public. According to reports, particularly an exposé in the Sunday Times, Minister Sisisi Tolashe spent roughly R3 million over 2 weeks on an official trip to New York. The sum alone raises eyebrows. To put this in perspective, that amount could fund months of food parcels for vulnerable households or cover grant payments for many families struggling to survive. Social grants remain a lifeline for millions of South Africans facing unemployment, rising costs of living, and a weak economy. To see such a bill tied to a single trip feels jarring, even tone-deaf, especially in an era where officials are constantly asked to tighten belts. Then came the leak. Someone shared details with the Sunday Times and possibly City Press. The story broke, public interest spiked, and just as quickly, the department pointed the finger at Oliphant. She was suspended almost immediately. The department framed it as a necessary move to investigate a data breach, but Oliphant saw it differently. She said it was political retaliation. She insisted she did not leak the information, and beyond that, she argued that deeper issues like mismanagement and factionalism played a bigger role in her abrupt suspension. Her response has been firm. She publicly denied any wrongdoing, calling the allegations baseless and describing the move as a smear campaign. She accused the minister and a departmental advisor, Ngwako Kotla, of using political infighting, especially linked to Sisisi Tolashe's tensions with former Minister Bathabile Dlamini, to target her personally. She pointed out that the Auditor General's findings implicated senior management in larger financial missteps, not her. In her view, she was simply an easy target, visible, outspoken, and unwilling to bend. On one hand, a government department must secure information integrity and investigate unauthorized leaks to protect processes and reputation. On the other, whistleblowers or insiders who bring questionable spending to light play a critical role in safeguarding public funds and fostering accountability. If every attempt to expose wrongdoing is met with suspension or dismissal, the chilling effect on transparency could be devastating. Citizens are left in the dark while questionable conduct continues unchecked. Political analysts have raised concerns that this case highlights broader vulnerabilities, namely, whether criticism or revelations of mismanagement end up targeting those who expose it rather than those responsible. South Africa already has a troubling history when it comes to whistleblowers. Consider the tragic story of Babita Deokaran, the health department official assassinated after exposing corruption. While Oliphant's case is different, the underlying question is the same. Does the state truly value openness, or does it see truth-tellers as threats? Meanwhile, Minister Tolashe has remained publicly silent. No response, no explanation of the costs, no engagement with the growing scrutiny. That lack of clarity only deepens public frustration, especially at a moment when social services and grant delivery remain critical to millions. Silence in politics is rarely neutral. It often fuels suspicion. Many are asking how such lavish spending can be justified when everyday needs remain unmet. So, what are the possible outcomes? If investigations clear Oliphant, it would strike a blow against retaliation culture and perhaps embolden other insiders to speak out. It could spark calls for reform in how departments handle leaks, the protection of internal dissent, and transparency in spending. Alternatively, if evidence emerges that Oliphant was involved, the case will serve as a warning about boundaries, or at least a cautionary tale about acting in politically charged environments. Either way, the outcome won't just shape her career, it will set a precedent for how government responds to dissent from within. It also raises questions about institutional accountability. How does the Department of Social Development manage oversight? Is there real internal control? And what about the Auditor General's findings? Should deeper investigations focus higher up the chain of command? At a minimum, public confidence demands clarity, not just about who leaked what, but about the spending itself, the oversight, and the integrity of the department. Without transparency, every denial sounds hollow and every justification defensive. There is also the human element. Oliphant has said she will not be intimidated. She emphasized that she remains committed to doing her job well, and that her work has received international recognition even as these events unfold. That's not just defiance, it's a reminder that individuals within institutions matter, that their professional reputation and personal resolve shape how public stories evolve. Her story shows us that behind the headlines are real people making choices under pressure, navigating systems where power and principle collide. If we zoom out, we see a clash between accountability and authority, between secrecy and whistleblowing, between political protectionism and public interest. In the story of Lumka Oliphant and Minister Tolashe's New York trip, we see both the real consequences of misaligned priorities and the sting of retaliation against those who shine a spotlight on excess. This is more than a battle over one suspension. It is a test of whether South Africa's institutions can handle dissent and whether public servants are allowed to put citizens first without fear of reprisal. As we watch how this unfolds in the coming weeks, whether investigations proceed, whether new details emerge, whether charges are confirmed or dismissed, we're not just following one story. We're watching a test of institutional resilience and the ongoing tension between power and accountability in governance. For citizens, the lesson is clear. Vigilance matters, scrutiny matters, and demanding explanations matters. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think Oliphant is being punished for speaking truth? If you found this story compelling and want more grounded, deep dive videos like this, consider hitting subscribe and ringing that bell. Let's build a space where these critical conversations happen, where events like this don't just become headlines but catalysts for understanding and, hopefully, for change. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to reading your thoughts below.